Welcome, folks, to the tonight's business training. We are going to talk about how to answer the question, what do you do, in a way that feels great and gets you business or makes you connections or gets you sales. So this is going to be a short and sweet little class tonight, and I'm going to go pretty quickly and just get started. So the reason I wanted to do this training is because this question, what do you do? It is completely unavoidable, right? Pretty much any party or social event or new person that you meet, this is the unavoidable icebreaker, right? Tell me about yourself. What do you do? It's an unavoidable question. So why not learn how to answer it in a way that is going to push your business further? And it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. If you are in run your own business, if you do clients, if you do any sort of sales, everyone should have a good answer to this question. So think about to yourself, how would you answer this question now if someone asked you, what do you do? And for time's sake, we're going to skip over sharing in the comment box, but you go ahead and type it down and we can go back to it later. But I want you to think about, how would you answer that question right now if someone asked you, what do you do? Well, here's some pretty common answers that honestly kind of suck. I'm just going to be really blunt during this webinar. Some very common answers would be, I'm a distributor for XYZ company. So I know a lot of you watching are Young Living distributors and you're in our Revolution Oils team. And I definitely have been guilty of answering the question this way as well. Hey, what do you do? Well, I'm a distributor for Young Living. Not a very good way to start a conversation. Other common answers, let's say you're a yoga instructor. I'm a yoga instructor, period. End of conversation. Or I'm a doula. So that's my background. Actually, I'm a childbirth educator and I'm a doula. And people used to ask me what I do. And I'd say, well, I'm a doula. And people would just kind of look at me like, okay, what does that mean? And it's not a very good way to start conversations. Or even if you're a doctor, answering the question, oh, I'm a family medicine doctor. Not a very interesting way to answer this conversation. Why not have a really interesting way to answer this conversation? What you are and who you are very different things, right? And honestly, no one cares what you are. No one cares that you're a doctor, that you're a yoga instructor, that you're a neurosurgeon, that you're a spaceman, whatever. No one cares what you are. They just care about what you do, who you are. Right? What you do is very much tied to who you are. And that's what people really care about. That's how people make connection. And that's how interesting conversations get started. So some better answers. Here's just some examples I was playing around with. Honestly, I didn't put a huge amount of time into crafting the perfectly crafted answer to these questions, because I don't want you to get caught up in perfection. I don't want you to get caught up with the perfect answer to every single question, because you can change it as much as you want. But here's just some examples of some better answers. So a yoga instructor might say, hi, I teach people who have never done yoga before how to do some basic exercises in a friendly group environment so that they can discover a new way to move their bodies and fall in love with yoga. That's kind of a longer answer. It kind of depends on the social situation you're in. You might shorten that and just say, I teach people how to move their bodies and fall in love with yoga. And that's a little more detailed. And this person is maybe a beginner yoga instructor. So you be specific. If you do have a specific niche, instead of just saying, yeah, I'm a yoga instructor, why not make it really specific and say, I do hot yoga, so that people can blah, 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 blah. And we'll get to the formula in a bit. Here's just some examples. So a dentist, if you meet a dentist and someone says, I'm a dentist, why not make it more interesting? Say, I help people feel and look their best by keeping their teeth bright and clean so that they can feel confident when they smile. They'll get the point that you're a dentist. Example of a birth doula. So as I said, that was my that's my background, and people would ask me what I would do, and I'd say, oh, I'm a doula, and they'd say, what the hell is that, right? So why not just answer the question in the beginning? Hi, I help expectant parents create happier memories in childbirth by providing continuous physical, emotional, and educational support during pregnancy and birth so that they can have healthier and happier birth outcomes. This might be more of a you're introducing yourself, at an event or something. If I was just meeting someone at a bar and they asked me what I do, I might not say this whole thing. I might break it down and say, I help expectant parents create happier memories in childbirth. And then let them ask me a question about that and then keep on answering and going into more about how I do that. Here's an alternative too. Same person, same doula, but maybe instead of the previous answer, I'd say something like, I help expectant couples have empowering childbirth experiences within a hospital setting without compromising their health and safety or alienating their healthcare providers. So it's the same profession, but kind of a different perspective. And that one might be more in tune with, what I'm focusing on or what I'm offering in my doula services. So here's a great example, because I know a lot of you are young living distributors out there, and maybe a better way that you can answer this question would be, I teach people how to use essential oils and other natural products so that they can live a completely toxic-free lifestyle and feel radiant. Don't you think that would be a better way to start a conversation about essential oils than, oh, I'm a Young Living distributor, or, oh, have you heard of Young Living? It starts more conversations and tells people more what you do as opposed to just what you are and who you work for. So if you haven't caught on, there's definitely a formula to this stuff. And I learned this from my mentor from afar. Her name's Yes Marsha from yesyesmarsha.com. And she's got just wonderful networking tips and whatnot. So this formula I stole from her. I don't think she'd mind. Check out her site. So the formula is, start with number one, I help blank. I help this demographic / your favorite people that you like to work with. Okay, your demographic. These are the people you want to work with, not the people that you think you should be working with or that you think have the money to work with you. These are the people that you actually want to work with. So as a doula, for example, I really like to work with parents that want to have natural childbirth experiences in the hospital setting. I don't prefer to work with home birth clients for my own reasons and lots of reasons. But, just as an example, I prefer to work with parents who are having hospital births and that want unmedicated childbirth. And that's not every doula out there, but I can sort of niche myself down in a positive way and really explain who I like to work with. So number one, I help this demographic. Number two is solve this problem. So what's an example of this? Let's say you're a fitness coach and you like to teach stay-at-home moms how to exercise with lots of kiddos running around after they've had their babies. So the problem you're helping someone solve would be helping a stay-at-home mom learn how to exercise despite her crazy schedule of having a baby, right? So maybe I help stay-at-home moms who are having trouble finding the time to exercise but want to get back into shape post-pregnancy, would be solving the problem. And then number three would be by doing this / using this method. So back to the fitness instructor, I help stay-at-home moms who want to get back in shape but can't find the time by teaching them, 10-minute exercises they can do while holding a baby or something. So that they can, number four is so that they can achieve these results. So in this example, maybe so that they can, lose weight and get back to their pre-pregnancy shape faster and feel better. So that is the basic formula for how you answer this question. And again, yesyesmarsha.com is where I kind of grabbed this formula from, and I highly encourage you to check out her stuff. She's got tons of free content out there. So let's break the formula down again. Here's one that I will often use as a Young Living distributor. There's not just the product side, there's also the business opportunity side. And it just kind of depends on who I'm talking to and what we're talking about, that I might lead with sort of this more business angle than the, helping people live non-toxic lives angle. Exactly. So if we break down the formula for maybe a network marketing professional, you could say something like, I teach mostly stay-at-home moms. So that's the demographic that you want to work with. I teach mostly stay-at-home moms. Now, what's the problem that you're helping them solve? They want to earn extra cash while also staying home with their kids. Now, by showing them this method or by doing this thing would be, I show them how to grow a successful home business in just 1 to 2 hours a day so that they can achieve these results, so that their husbands can quit their jobs or retire early. So I've used this pretty much exact same sentence when I've been talking to strangers, at the park or the play date or something. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, it leads into a really good conversation. And then half the time I end up, lending out a 4-year career book or something and following up with a coffee date later. Just because, instead of saying, oh, I work in network marketing. No one likes to, no one even knows what that means, right? So definitely not the best way to start conversations by saying that you're in an MLM or you're in network marketing or even that you're a business coach. That's not who you are. That's not what you do. That's what you are. No one wants to hear that. All right. So that's the formula. And I'll go back to it so you can see it one more time. That's the basic formula to determine, how to answer that question, what do you do, in a more effective way. But there are a couple alternative methods that I wanted to talk about, and there's just 2. One of them is, think about a hypothetical client who has a hypothetical problem and start talking about that person. So when someone asks you, what do you do? Maybe let's say I'll go back to my doula roots. So my hypothetical client. So I might say something like, well, I work with parents who want to have empowering childbirth experiences in the hospital, or I work with parents who are pregnant and we work together and I help them figure out and educate them on ways to have empowering childbirth experiences. So it doesn't have to be so formulated. You could really just start talking about who's your dream client, and just start talking about them and what their problem is. Alternative number 2, I really like this one, is just talk about what you did that day for work, or maybe something you're going to do, or maybe something you did that week that you're proud of. Like, for example, tonight, the reason I have to cut this webinar a little fast is that I'm interviewing the ULA guys. If you're in Young Living, you know who the ULA guys are. So I'm interviewing them tonight for a podcast interview. So if someone asks me, what do you do? And they ask me that question today, I might say something, well, tonight I'm interviewing the ULA guys for my new podcast I'm doing about essential oils. And that's a great way to start a conversation, because people might say, oh, like, what's a podcast? Or, oh, I didn't even know you did essential oils. Like, tell me more. Like, who are the ULA guys? So, the point is not to just give an answer, right? If someone asks you, what do you do? Don't perceive that question as them actually trying to figure out who you are. I'd say take that question as an opportunity to start a conversation. Also, keep in mind that people like to sort of think about themselves more than they like to think about other people. I'm not saying that to be like mean. It's just kind of the way that we function. And so if you can answer this question in a way that might relate to them or someone that they know, it's going to start conversations much more effectively. And answering the question in that formula is definitely a way to get them thinking like, oh, I have that problem. Or, oh, I know someone that has that problem. I should get in touch. I should get you guys in touch. So what do you do? And really a better way to think about that question is, who do you serve? Right? I used to really struggle with this question because I was really afraid of niching myself down too much. But really, don't be afraid of niching yourself down. And, if you prefer to work with, stay-at-home moms or older ladies or whatever, don't be afraid to niche yourself down, but think more about who do you serve? What do you offer? Who do you help? Because in this world, you really, if you're not adding value, if you're not helping other people, you're not going to be successful. And sometimes it takes a while for us to figure out exactly who do we help or who do we want to help. So go back over this formula, go back over these exercises and really think about what do you do and who do you help? And it's not that easy to write this stuff down and commit yourself to it. But write it down and write out a couple different versions. I have a lot of different versions to the answer to that question. It just depends on kind of who I'm talking to or what I'm focusing on. Maybe if I'm talking to a pregnant lady, I'm probably going to answer that question more in my doula world than maybe my essential oil world. If I'm talking to, a middle-aged woman who's obviously past her childbearing years, I might not really mention the doula stuff right then. I might more focus on just helping people live non-toxic lifestyles and then talk about my doula work a little bit later, just as a conversation starter. But write down different versions of this answer and really think about who you serve, who you help, and how you help them. And then write it down and practice it. Like really, you need to practice it to get it embedded in your mind. So go on a walk, write it down and go on a walk, push the stroller around. That's what I would do. I would put my kids in the stroller and I'd push the stroller around and I would say my answer to myself over and over again until it felt natural and until I had it embedded in my brain. And now when someone asks me that question, I get really excited about answering it. I'm like, ooh, let me tell you what I do, because I know it's always going to start a good conversation and it makes the other person feel really comfortable. And it's just a really great way to break the ice. So this was super short, super sweet. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know a lot of people missed the live presentation. So the replay is going to be sent to your email, I believe tomorrow, if not tonight. And you can go back and rewatch the webinar, do the formula, and get a really good answer to this question, because it will help your business. It will attract new customers to your business, start great conversations, and start making connections with people, because that's what any business is about, especially in Young Living. It's about making connections with people. So I hope this encourages you to kind of pause and do the work and get a really good answer to that question. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.